Good afternoon YouTube, Mr. Mo here, Stick Survival. What I've got for you today is the Maxpedition M2 Waistpack, and before I show you what I've got in mine, I'll just quickly go through the Maxpedition specs on this pouch and you can decide whether or not it's suitable for your needs. So there's two compartments. The larger one is at the rear, which is 5 inches by 3 inches by 1.5 inches. And a front compartment which is 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches by 1 inch. The material it's made of is 1000 denier ballistic nylon. It has a dew point Teflon coating for maximum stain resistance. It has YKK zippers with paracord pulls. All the internal seams are taped and finished to make it a little more waterproof. And of course on the back itself it has a belt loop here which is 2.5 inches, and it can be attached to other Maxpedition gears or other molly systems with the Maxpedition 3-inch tack ties. So the pouch itself, what do I use the pouch for? Well, I'm a big fan of the small Maxpedition pouches because this kind of stuff enables me to put together small sort of EDC kits or survival kits which I can put in my vehicle or throw them in the bottom of my rucksack. And then when I get off into the woods and I set my camp up, etc., what I can do is just take this out, I can attach it to a belt, put it around my waist, and it means wherever I go this is with me. So if I get into any bother at all, then I have some emergency equipment with me at all times. So I'll go through quickly what I have in here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'd really like to do this review and just hit the whole lot in one go rather than having two-parters. So in here, like I said, it has 2 pen holders. I have a ceramic rod which helps with the sharpening of my knife. Here I have a pen torch which is the 4.7 Perion 2. Fantastic little torch. 2 AAA batteries, and it has a maximum of 40 hours on the low beacon mode, which for a survival situation is exactly what you want. Remember, you want to be rescued. Frontal compartment. In here what I have is, if you had a look at my video that I put on a few days ago, I tried to keep everything small in the Maxpedition mini organiser, but here there's a little bit more room, so we could perhaps go for more quality like tools. So I have just a wet fire tinder there, and just take this out here. I also have the Strikeforce fire starter, which you've probably seen in a lot of videos. This is an excellent means to start a fire. It's proved itself time and time again. In the bottom there's also room for another wet fire tinder, which works really brilliant. In fact, I'm going to do a demonstration of this fire steel in a future video, but as for just now, I'm not going to go too much into that. I also have my folding knife in the front here, which is the Super Swede. Again, we talked a little bit about that. It's a Scandi grind. The locking system on this is absolutely excellent. When that's locked, it feels like a fixed blade knife. Very easy to sharpen, and like I said before, this knife is capable of tasks way beyond the size of what this knife actually, looks and feels like just a normal folder, but it's a really good bushcraft and survival knife to have. And of course, with a knife I have a sharpening stone. No preference there over the sharpening stones, just something to throw in and sort of give the edge back on your knife. So moving on into the forward compartment, I have in here my NATO button compass, which I showed on the mini organiser as well. Again, I really like that compass. It's very accurate. There's a little bit of cotton wool in there, and that just stops it from rattling around, and also gives me another means to light a fire. And it also protects the compass a little bit because there's a lot of metal rattling around in there, so it maybe shields it a little bit. I have a little bit of snare wire. Again, not much chance of catching a lot of rabbits with this amount of snare wire, but if you are in that situation and you are patient and you watch them, then it is possible to strategically place a snare perhaps and catch a little rabbit. But I've got something else in here which would do the job a lot better as I've moved up to a bigger pouch. I have the paracord. Again, not sure how much is in there, but it's certainly enough just to tie the apex off on a A-frame shelter, which is the shelter that I would be looking to build if I ever was in a survival situation. There's enough there just to make sure that it's not going to come down on top of you in the middle of the night. And again, with the paracord, that can be broken up into several smaller brands and can use that for various bits and pieces. Here is the sort of food source that I would be looking to have. This is actually a rabbit purse net. And what I've found with this, I've used this before and I have had luck with this. In fact, I've had a lot more luck with this than what I have with a snare wire. And that's simply, what you do is you watch the rabbits, you observe them for a little while, and then you make a few loud noises and you're going to see them bolt off down into the holes. Now these are the holes that they use all the time for the normal in and out. But rabbit warrens do have like emergency exits. So you position your purse net over a hole on one of the emergency exits, and then you'd simply light a fire in the main hole, and then you're going to watch them coming running out the back, and hopefully one of them's going to run right into this net. A little bit crude, but again, it's a survival situation. You've got to do what you can to secure that meat and get some calories into you. So purse net, big winner for that kind of scenario. Again, yesterday, you've seen this before, I've had this in a few of my videos. This is the Pre-Mac water filter. It's good for about 50 litres. Again, it does have some downsides to it. It's actually banned here in Europe because it's iodine based. And for those of you who know, iodine, if you've got liver problems, if you're pregnant, if your thyroid is not up to normal, then this iodine based treatment can be a little bit problematic to you. But nevertheless, they've banned it because they said it's not fit for long-term use. Well, it was never intended for long-term use. This is an emergency product, and this is still working. For me, it still works, and I'm going to continue to use it until it basically runs out, and then I'm going to replace it with one of the Aquamera Pro filters, which would fit in there no problem as well. So until that day, I'm going to continue to use this because it's not done me any harm. But if you are looking for a water filter, then probably best to try and steer away from the iodine based ones. There are other good ones on the market. What else do we have in here? My Fox 40 whistle. No brainer, rescue. Some needles inside there. Again, excellent for field repairs and what have you. I have inside here actually is something I forgot to put in my last review, and it's basically one of those sort of commando wire saws. They are what they are. There are better ones on the market, but they're bigger and bulkier, and this will bring down a log and cut through bigger logs. But remember, in that situation, it's all about preserving calories. So I would suggest that when you're in a wooded area, you basically want to use what's lying around on the floor of the forest to keep your fire going, and not necessarily start tackling big branches on trees. Obviously, if the wood on the ground's saturated, then you have no choice, but always forage and see what you can find first. Fishing hooks, seen these before in a little bijou vial. And with that, I have